And a very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess with Maximizing Results, and back with you to talk more about Think and Grow Rich and how this book can certainly enhance the quality of your life in all areas of your life. It doesn't matter. Now, up until now, we've talked about the publisher's preface. What did the publisher have to say about the book? We've talked about the author's preface and what Napoleon Hill said about the book and how he laid the foundation for us. And now it's time to jump into the actual principles of the book, so you and I can gain a better understanding of these principles and then apply them in our life. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is they're not hard. There is nothing in this book that is difficult. Now, it was written in 1937. The way it's written makes it seem difficult, but I'm here to tell you it's not hard. But before we jump into the principles of this book and jump into the book, there's something that I want to share with you to prepare you for the book and to prepare you for what's in the book. And to do that, we'll jump into a little slide deck. And there's a question that I believe every one of us should be able to answer. And that question very simply is, what is the primary cause of all of the results that we get in every area of our life? Now, not the secondary cause, the primary cause. And a lot of people right there, they go, action. Well, there's something that happens before action, or should happen. Planning, I got it, planning. Well, no, that's not it either, because what if we're planning, but we have the wrong mindset? So the primary cause of all results that we get in every area of our life across the board, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing more than attitude. See, our attitude truly determines the quality of everything. Now, that planning thing or that action thing, well, what if we did that with a bad attitude? We'd get bad results. What if we even did the planning with a good attitude and we knew we had a good plan, but then when we took action, we didn't have the same attitude? We had a bad attitude. I don't feel like doing this, man. Well, we know that we wouldn't get very good results. So attitude truly does control the quality of everything in our life, no question about it. Now, as a kid that quit school in the 8th grade, I heard quite a bit, Tim, you got to improve your attitude. Come on, man, get a better attitude. But nobody ever told me what it was. Nobody ever taught me how to get a better attitude. I had no clue, but I knew that they kept telling me that I should get a better attitude. That was certainly prevalent at the time. So this attitude thing I was confused about. So I want to ask you that same question. What is attitude? What the heck is it? If we're supposed to be able to get a better attitude, then what is attitude? And through my discovery and then through learning and continuing to study, attitude is nothing more than our own thoughts, our own feelings, and our own actions. It's not just one of them, but it's all of them combined. And here's what we found across the board. If you'll just pay attention to people, you'll realize how true this is. That most people live on the outside of this circle of responsibility, where they don't take responsibility for their own thoughts. They don't take responsibility for their own feelings or actions, and they certainly want to blame the results on somebody else. We hear it all the time. They make me so mad. Oh my gosh, traffic made me late. The weather made me late. It's just terrible. On and on and on. It's the blame game over and over and over again. So what I want to ask you to do is live on the inside of the circle of responsibility. Take responsibility 100% for your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own actions. In other words, take responsibility 100% for every result that you get in every area of your life. No more blame game. But it's this top one that I want to talk about for a minute, the thoughts thing. Because, the book is called Think and Grow Rich. And as far back as we can go in recorded history, all of the great thinkers, philosophers, theologians, capitalists, all of the mega wealthy in any industry anywhere, and Napoleon Hill even started his book this way, they've all told us we actually become what we think about. Well, this brings me to another question then. And that question is, how do we think? Well, if we can't define how we think, and we're going through a book called Think and Grow Rich, we're starting the book confused. And it's probably not a very good way to start the book. So really, how do we think? And it's very, very elementary. It's so simple, it hurts. It's right in front of you. We literally think in pictures. If I were to ask you to think of an airplane, what happens? What about a hot air balloon, or maybe a beautiful exotic sports car, or a nice yacht? See, what happens is you get an image on the screen of your mind. And the more clarity that we have with the image, the less confusion that there is. But just to really drive the point home, think of your kitchen for a minute. I mean, literally, mentally walk into your kitchen. You can see everything. You see where the refrigerator is. You see where the stove is. You see whether or not you have a window. You know whether or not you have an island in the kitchen. You know everything about the kitchen. You have a clear image. So if you walk into my kitchen, you don't have a very clear image. So we think in pictures, and the more clarity we have, the less confusion we have. This isn't hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite simple. So we're talking about images on the screen of the mind. So that brings me to another question, and that question is, what does your mind look like? And I don't know about you, but the first time my mentor asked me that question, first of all, I got an image of the brain. And the brain is not the mind, not in any way, shape, or form. But then I got an image of kind of scrambled eggs. And neither one of those are accurate. But here's the key. If we don't know what the mind looks like, how aren't we confused? Just like the whole kitchen thing, right? So images on the screen of the mind, but I have no clue what the mind looks like. Well, in the 1930s, this guy named Dr. Thurman Fleet, he said, mind is an activity, not a thing. And since no one had ever seen the mind, he would create an image we could work with to eliminate the confusion and bring the clarity. And he gave us this little thing called the stick man. He said, you have a mind and a body. I told my the mentor at the time, I said, you have a drunk graphic artist. That's what you got. And he said, Tim, shut up and listen. So I did, truly. And then that's, if you really, I mean, if you're somebody I respect and I'm learning from you, that's how you talk to me and get me to pay attention. So I did pay attention. And he said, you have a mind and a body. You have a conscious and a subconscious. And that's when this hit me like a ton of bricks. That's exactly what Napoleon Hill has been talking about. I had been studying this book for 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, before I got a copy of what you're looking at right now. And when I got this, it made so much sense, and it simplified even more what Napoleon Hill's talking about. So you have a conscious and a subconscious. In the conscious mind, you can choose your thoughts. Nobody can force you to think something you don't want to think. Think about that for a minute. Nobody can force you to think something you don't want to think. And those thoughts ultimately create a feeling. And it's that feeling. This was the aha moment. Hopefully it is for you as it was for me. It's the feeling right there that's expressed through the body into an action that gives us a result. It's not the thought, it's the feeling. So if we're feeling kind of, excuse my language, shitty, well, what kind of action are we taking then? That began with a poopy thought. It became a nasty feeling. It became the wrong action. Well, if that's the case, what type of results are we getting? Okay, simple stuff, thoughts, feelings, actions, results, conscious to the subconscious connection. Napoleon's going to talk about that a lot throughout the whole book. That's why I wanted to start with this. So in any area of our life, if we wish to enhance the quality of the results, we first must enhance the quality of the thoughts repetitively, not just once, like going to a gym. I mean, if you go to a gym one time a month, how you doing? And you do no other exercising at all. So ladies and gentlemen, please remember, it's the simplicity, it truly is the simplicity of thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And now it probably makes more sense of why I have this on the wall behind me. It's to remind me to think. And yeah, that's on the wall in my office. It's we're having a new one made with a little antenna, and I'll show you that one when it's done. But I wanted to make sure that we went through this little piece with the conscious and the subconscious, because in these first three principles that we talk about, Napoleon Hill is going to lay the foundation, and he's going to make it very, very clear that we take action based on how we feel. We don't take action based on how we think. So he starts this whole book off, and he says this, the starting point is, chapter 2, first principle, desire, the starting point of all achievement. The starting point of all achievement. Now remember, in our last video, we talked about this guy named Edwin Barnes. And I know you don't know Edwin Barnes. I don't know Edwin Barnes. What he did doesn't really matter to me personally in my life, but what he did, if I study it, then I can do the same thing, and I can have the same type of grand results that he had. Napoleon says, when Edwin Barnes climbed down from the freight train in Jersey more than 30 years ago, he may have resembled a tramp, but his thoughts were those of a king. And if you remember, Edison said he stood there before me looking like an ordinary tramp. Remember? He said, as he made his way, Napoleon's back, as he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas A. Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the one consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. A burning desire. Barnes' desire was not a hope, it was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. This thing was alive inside of him. What's alive inside of you? The desire was not new when he approached Edison, not at all. It had been Barnes' dominating desire for a long time. Now, in the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, remember, it may have been and probably was just a wish. However, when he gave life to that wish, it was no mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. Now, a few years later, Barnes standing right before Edison in the same office where we first met him, this time his desire had been translated into reality. He was the business associate of Edison. He was earning millions of dollars, and because Edison had perfected the dictaphone, Barnes saw an opportunity and took advantage of that opportunity. Napoleon says, today people who know Barnes envy him because of the break life yielded him. They see him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Ladies and gentlemen, success isn't by osmosis. It isn't haphazard, just let me stumble upon it. It's not how it works. Barnes succeeded because, I love this part, please pay attention. He succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything back of that goal. Everything was behind the goal, everything. He didn't become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start in the most menial work as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his cherished goal. In his mind, he was already the business associate of Edison, even though he might have been sweeping the floors. That didn't matter. Napoleon continues, he says, 5 years passed before the chance he had been seeking made its appearance. 5 years. During all those years, not one ray of hope, not one promise of attainment of his desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in the Edison business wheel. But in his own mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time from the very day that he first went to work there. See, in his own mind, he was already there. He had arrived. And he's kept that fire alive. Napoleon says it is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite desire. Definite desire. What do you want? Definite desire. See, he won the goal because he wanted to be a business associate of Edison more than he wanted anything else. He created a plan. This is the beautiful part. He created a little plan by which to attain that purpose, and then he did something most people will never do. Napoleon says he burned all bridges behind him. He stood by his desire until it became the dominating obsession of his life and finally a fact. He burned every bridge behind him. He had no place to go, no retreat. When he went, and I love this part as well, he went to Orange, New Jersey. He didn't say to himself, you know what, I'll try to get Edison to give me a job of some sort. He said, no. I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him. He didn't say, you know what, I'll work there for a few months, and if I get no encouragement, I'll quit, I'll get a job somewhere else. He said, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do, but before I am through, I will be his associate. He didn't say, I'll keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get what I want in the Edison organization. He said, there's but one thing in this world that I am determined to have, and that is a business association with Thomas Edison. I will burn all bridges behind me and stake my entire future on my ability to get what I want. He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to win. or perish. Napoleon continues and he says, that is all there is to the barn story of success. And then he tells them a story about another instance where that occurred, about a warrior that faced a situation which made it necessary for him to do the same thing. Napoleon continues and he says this, every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by so doing can one maintain that state of mind known as a burning desire to win, which is essential for success. Do you have that burning desire to win? I surely hope so. We've just gotten started in this chapter. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, share this with everybody. The little very, very basic concept that we went through in the very beginning, conscious to the subconscious connection, can be a life changer for you. And I don't mean that all at once, man, everything's going to change. No, I mean, down the road, as you start to use your mind, it'll be a life changer. Remember, there are 6 steps in this chapter that we will get to in the next video. Don't miss them. And to make sure you don't miss them, hit the notification button right now. Don't delay, subscribe, notification. Notify me every time we put a video up. Tell it to. It'll do it. Also, do me a favor, share this video. Share it with people you know. They'll get benefit from it. And if you would go out to the social media, out to Facebook, LinkedIn, like us, leave us a comment. We greatly appreciate all that you do by being here and by watching these videos. It allows me to live my true purpose, is to help another person become better than they would have become without my influence through the teachings of this book. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Remember, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And Joe, thank you. Everybody say thank you to Joe. And as always, our desire is for this day to be the very best day that you've ever experienced in this game we call life. Remember, yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow isn't here. But we can do something about today. And the first thing is to decide that this is the best day I've ever had. Tonight, when you put your head on the pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day today.